Hi. Welcome to my channel Everyday Movie Recap, where I will recap a survival thriller film called Society of the Snow from the year 2023. It is based on the real-life rugby team involved in the tragic 1972 Andes plane crash. Have you watched this movie yet? If not, sit back, relax, and enjoy. In the opening scene, we are introduced to a group of young rugby ball players in Montevideo, Uruguay. It is October 1972. After a match, they clean themselves up and discuss about the trip to Chile. It is their first trip out of the country and everyone is excited about the trip. All the members of the team are going, but one member, Numa Takati, is still undecided. His best friend tries to convince him, saying that after they graduate, they won't be able to bond anymore. Numa is moved and agrees. On the day of the trip, everyone is present and everyone is in a joyful mood. In total, there are 40 passengers and 5 crew members. They take a picture with all the passengers as they say their goodbyes to their families. It is a bright and clear day without any signs of danger across the sky as the plane goes over the snowy Andes mountains. A turbulence shakes the plane, but they pay it no mind and continue their talks. Another turbulence occurs and the captain radios for everyone to fasten their seatbelts as they will be landing in Santiago soon. Numa gets anxious as the plane shakily descends. It is no longer a small turbulence and everyone holds onto their seats. A few moments later, the plane tragically crashes and is cut in half. Numa opens his eyes with blood oozing from his wounds. He sees other people also wounded and some already lost their lives. Roberto, a medical student, tends to the wounded. Meanwhile, the dying captain informs them that they already passed Curacao. The night eventually comes and the temperature suddenly drops to 30 degrees. Numa fears that if the plane crash doesn't kill them, the cold will. Some try to motivate others, and some try to ask for help. But one thing in common is the freezing cold they feel as they huddle together for the little warmth their bodies can offer. Morning comes and Numa tearfully tells his friend Pancho that they are still alive. They go outside and see the unbelievable situation that they are in. Everywhere, there are only snowy mountains. They assess their situation and find that many perished that night. They go back inside the plane and try to salvage anything useful in the wreckage. The deceased are taken outside so any rescue planes can easily see it. For lunch, they evenly share a small portion of bread with some jams. While resting, they shout for help, but nothing except the gust of wind is heard. At night, they fortify their base, making sure to fill up any cracks as much as they can to keep the cold out. Carlitos, one of the surviving members, asks how many will die again. Marcelo, the eldest among the group, tells him no one will die and the rescue will soon come. On day 3, one of their friends, Nando, struggles and hugs her sister. They tragically inform her that his parents died on the first night. A few moments later, they see a plane flying by. They use everything they can to try to get its attention, and, after thinking that the planes see them, they cry tears of joy expecting it to send a rescue team for them. They happily discuss what they are going to do after they come home. However, after waiting for hours, no help can be seen. Marcelo informs them that the rescue team searches for the area in sections. As they saw a plane flying nearby, it meant that they would probably be searching in a different location. Marcelo tries to lift the already low morale of the group. They then try to find another alternative by fixing the radio found on the tail of the plane that separated from them during the crash. Crafting a makeshift snow trekking equipment, 4 men climb up the mountain to find the battery. After climbing so high in the mountain, they look behind to see that the plane is not visible from their position. No wonder the rescue teams could not find them. On day 6, they spend the day hungry as they share their final ration of crackers. They are so hungry that they try to eat molds from the stones, and even the scabs from a wound. The wounded Nando says that night that he is going to survive no matter what, even if it involves eating the deceased. That evening, they tell the team captain Marcelo that they have had no food 7 days. And Nando voiced out that the people outside are good enough sources of protein. They argue amongst themselves about the dilemma. What if they get rescued in 2 days, can't they hold on for more? But it is a matter of life and death as they need the energy to survive. Numa asks Roberto, the one who suggested eating the deceased, if God will forgive them for doing such acts. And Roberto replies that he will, for they are only doing it to survive. Apart from the morality of it, they also argue the legality of eating a person without consent. But they argue that they have the right to survive by consuming the deceased. They are in a very bad health condition from the cold and malnourishment. Many people also reported that the color of his pee is color black already. On the 8th day, Nando's sister Susie tragically passed away. From Numa's count, there are 27 survivors out of the 45 that left their city. The following day, as they huddle together, Nancho, including Roberto, says that he allows them to eat his body if he dies. Outside, 4 men take small body parts to be consumed by them. Without any choice, many more follow to consume the frozen meat outside. The tasks to do cut the bodies are assigned to Strocht cousins while Fido shows us which bodies are to be eaten. It is all cut up out of sight from the other survivors to keep them from losing their minds. While others who are not doing anything are tasked to keep on the lookout for any rescue. While digging some snow, they find a broken radio. They then make a makeshift antenna and try to make it work by holding it in the right place. It finally gets a signal, however, they find out that after 66 search missions, the government had given up on them. They despair and cry out after hearing the news. That night, Nando apologizes to the remaining people who have not eaten human meat and begs them to eat for survival. After that, 3 men goes to the wreckage of the tail of the separated plane to find the battery to fix the radio. Along the way, they find Ramon and Gaston who perished first when they got separated. Without proper trekking equipment, they have a hard time going up into the mountains. But the tail of the plane is still much far away. So they continue on their journey. It is too late as the night catches them, trapping them far away from everybody. They finally emerge under the snow after a long night in that blizzard. Using parts of the plane, they use it as a sled to quickly go down from the mountain. Numa reports that everything he saw from there was just more snow. He is given food by his friend who asks him to eat to return his strength. With tears in his eyes, he swallows it and cries in his sleep. With each passing day, he is losing hope that he will die in that place, but he sees Nando, training and walking around saying that beyond the mountains is the Valley of Chile where they can be saved. For 5 days, the storm rages outside the plane. To pass the time, some tell stories to lighten up the mood. Just then, an avalanche buries them underground. The first people to escape immediately digs for any survivors. They have no time to mourn as another avalanche comes and kills more people yet again. Using a tube, a pathway for air to get inside is created. They later find out that many more people died, including Marcelo. Numa, overcome with grief, angrily digs for a way out. He successfully manages to dig a small hole and they come out one by one. They take a breath from the outside and enjoy the sunshine on their faces. Numa is injured on his leg, but due to the cold, it got numb and he no longer feels anything. So helps in digging for the team. Inside the plane, Numa tells his friend Arturo to pray and they will be saved. However, he tells them that God before did not do anything for them in their current situation. He says that he believes more in the friends who passed away doing everything for survival. On day 34, the snow covering their plane thaws. Arturo and one other person are very sick. While grasping his heart, Arturo passes away. The medical student can no longer do anything and says they will just be gravediggers. They take away the letter from him and bury him. They then chose 4 people to pack and equip themselves with extra clothing to fully go into the mountain to find the tail of the plane. While it's happening, Numa faints and falls from the steep slope. Albeit still alive, his wound is getting worse and is infected. The 3 people continue their journey as Numa goes back to the plane, alone. Numa wakes up to a person hallucinating and asking for his father's help. The others try to calm him, however, after a few hours, he dies. They bury him and save his belongings. Many days pass. The expedition team arrives and informs Numa about the tail of the ship. They found new clothing and food supplies including alcohol, chocolates, cigarettes, and more importantly, the battery. Because the battery is much bigger, they figure that it will be much easier to bring the radio than the battery. Which means they have to go back again to that place. A group of 4 people, once again go on an expedition to the tail of the plane. They try to fix the radio and make it work. However, all they hear are static noises. Meanwhile, in the main camp, Numa's wounds are getting worse. And the food is also running out. They strip the bones of meat. His friend Pancho tells him to not give up and feeds him. He tells Pancho not to worry about him and tells him he's about to die. He tells him his final wishes before he dies and they both cry. On the other hand, the expedition team is having no success. The wires are short-circuited and no longer work. They return to the ship and inform everyone about the radio. But they also bring back a waterproof leather. They then use this to create a big sleeping bag. As they work on it, Tintin finds a camera and takes pictures of everybody. Meanwhile, Numa tells Nando that he is allowing him to use his body for consumption as he can tell that it's nearly his time. And that he is ready. He later dies in his sleep. They pass the note Numa made to each other, telling them there is no greater love than to give his own life to his friends. The following morning, another expedition is set. They heavily equip themselves for the long mission ahead. The three men go ahead and they wish them good luck. Using the sleeping bag, they camp in the snow just on the edge of the mountain. The three men walk for miles and miles. When finally, at the top of a mountain, Nando sees over the horizon more snow. He tells his companions that he does not want to go back because, at some point, they will get to their destination. However, his friend warns him that they only have a week's worth of rations. Even so, Nando does not want to give up. So Nando and Roberto continue their journey while the last person goes back so that their rations last longer. Amidst the snow and steep mountain, the two continue their walk. They get to a valley and camp there. The next morning, when they see a river, they greedily drink from it. Suddenly, for the first time, they see a person on a horse looking at them. They write him a message telling him they are from the plane that crashed. The government is immediately alerted and rescue missions are on their way. They guide the rescue mission towards the remaining survivors. There, the survivors are eagerly waiting for their arrival. They cry themselves and rejoice at the arrival of the rescue mission. The movie ends as the last man is taken on the helicopter. They remember memories of the harrowing days in that place. On December 22, 1972, the 16 survivors were rescued after 72 days from the Andes Mountains. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoy the movie. For more content please comment, like, and subscribe to our channel.